Good morning. This is Thursday morning. I sure am glad to be with you today. We have just come through some wonderful days here at our church. Last Sunday was our 25th anniversary, and what a blessed day that was. We had a great time. We had a great crowd in the auditorium and two great messages that day. Brother Don Strange was with us for the day, and my goodness, it was just a wonderful, wonderful day. And then on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we hosted a pastor's fellowship and workers. There were missionaries here and others that were with us. And what a great blessing those days were as well. And tremendous messages. You can go back and hear those on our pages, our Facebook page, and also our uh, website. And I mean, they were wonderful, wonderful messages. And then also our family came in to help us celebrate the 25 years. And that was a blessing as well. But wonderful, wonderful things. And God was so good to us. But I must admit, now it's kind of good to get back to normal. And so we're looking forward to the next couple of days and then preparing for Sunday again. And what a time that's going to be. I love this time of year as we come toward the conclusion of summer and head into the fall season. Two reasons. Number one, the change of seasons. It won't be long till the leaves will begin to change colors. We'll see those wonderful oranges and yellows that we see here, and that's wonderful. And then the cooler temperatures. But of course, my favorite football season starts again. But it's a great time of year, and we're looking forward to what God has for us. I hope you'll stay with us today. We're going to be talking about perfection, but I think you'll find it in a little bit of a different light today. I have most of the time I start with something funny, or it's funny to me anyway, whether it is to you or not. But I heard this story many, many years ago, and it's funny, but it also kind of goes with what we're talking about. The story was told about a perfect man who met a perfect woman. After a perfect courtship, they had a perfect wedding. Their life together was, of course, perfect. Then one stormy Christmas Eve, this perfect couple was driving along a winding road when they noticed someone on the side of the road in distress. Being the perfect couple, they stopped to help. There stood Santa Claus with a huge bundle of toys. Not wanting to disappoint any of the children, on Christmas Eve, this perfect couple loaded Santa and all his toys into their vehicle. Soon they were driving along delivering the toys. Unfortunately, the driving conditions continued to get worse and worse, and the perfect couple and Santa had an accident. Tragic accident. Only one of them survived the accident. Who was the survivor? The answer, of course, is the perfect woman, because after all, she's the only one that really existed in the first place. Everyone knows there is no Santa Claus and no such thing as a perfect man. A man was listening to this story being recounted, and he said, if there is no such thing as a perfect man, or if there's no such thing as Santa Claus, then the perfect woman must have been driving, which explains why there was an accident in the first place. I, I've heard that story several times, and it's funny to me every time. But it's one of those riddle things people try to catch others with. But the truth is, there is no perfect couple, and there is no perfect man, and there is no perfect woman, and there is no Santa Claus. There was only one perfect man, and that was Christ. Today, we're really not talking about being perfect, but it is a part of the word that it literally means to perfect. In Psalm 138, the psalmist said this: Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. Thou shalt stretch forth thine hand against the wrath of mine enemies, and thy right hand shall save me. The Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. Thy mercy, O Lord, endureth forever. Forsake not the works of thine own hands. Notice again what he said. The Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. Would you live for Jesus and be always pure and good? Would you walk with him within the narrow road? Would you have him bear your burden, carry all your load? Let him have his way with thee. Would you in his kingdom find a place of constant rest? Would you prove him true in providential test? Would you in his service labor at your best? Let him have his way with thee. His power can make you what you ought to be. His blood can cleanse your heart and make you free. His love can fill your soul, and you will see 'twas best for him to have his way with thee. Samuel Nosbaum wrote that song in 1898. The psalmist said, the Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. It is his work. I must simply let him have his way with me. I saw an article recently about a man who was the face of fitness for many people. He was on the cover of magazines in his day. He had made many fitness videos. He was just finishing a fitness video when he died tragically at the age of 25. How sad that a man would spend his time trying to perfect his body, but lose his life in the effort. That is a picture of so many who seek to glorify our humanity rather than allowing the Lord to magnify himself in us. The key to the Lord perfecting us is our giving him the reins of our life. God desires to work in us for his glory and for our good. It is always best for him to have his way with us. The word perfect in verse 8 that we find literally means to come to an end, to perform, or to perfect. Paul wrote to the Philippians in Philippians 1:6 these words, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. That's the word perfect that we find in Psalm 138. The Lord is going to finish that. That's the idea. He's going to complete it, perform it. The little chorus that we used to use sometime is, he's still working on me. Boy, how true that is. The Lord will continue to work on us all the way to glory, to our completion. In Romans 8:29, we know that our ultimate completion or perfection, if you will be when we have been conformed to the image of his dear son. The point of our devotion today is not what we will be in heaven at the conclusion when our bodies are made like his bodies. We're in our glorified state, but rather what the Lord is desiring to perfect in us now when we have the opportunity to serve and to be a blessing to others. Our ultimate perfection, we know, is going to be in heaven. But what is the Lord desiring to do in us now? What is he wanting to perfect in us now. A man once came up to C.H. Spurgeon, the great English preacher, at a Christian retreat, and he said to Brother Spurgeon, he said, Mr. Spurgeon, I want you to know that I have reached spiritual perfection. Well, Spurgeon didn't say a word. He just picked up a pitcher of ice cold water and poured it right on top of the man's head. Well, when he did, the man became angry and reacted as any normal person would if cold water had been poured on their head. Spurgeon looked at him and said, well, now I know exactly what spiritual perfection you've come to. Well, he hadn't got spiritual perfection, and none of us will. That is not what he's talking about there. But what is it in our lives that God wants to perfect so we can be a blessing to others? He is molding us. He wants to make us vessels of honor for the master's use. That's our goal for him. Lord, you perfect that in me. You perform it. It's like one man said, we are still on the potter's wheel. The Lord is still molding our lives. He's changing us, making us into what he wants us to be able to serve him better. I talked to an older preacher many years ago, and the older preacher said this to me. He said, when I was young, he said, I had too much confidence. He said, when I was young, I had too much pride. He said, when I was young, I thought way too highly of myself. He said, so the Lord had to work on me to get me to where he could use me. And he did. That's what the Lord wants to do in all of us. He wants to perfect that which concerns us so that we can be the best vessels for him. I was never a bodybuilder. I did lift weights some when I was younger. I worked out with a guy who was a power lifter. And in the gym where he and I were working out, there were these bodybuilders who were in there. And I can remember there were mirrors all around one wall of this gymnasium where the barbells and all that was. And these bodybuilders would take the barbells, and sometimes they would stand and they would do those curls. And boy, they'd check that bicep right here. Was it shaped perfectly? And they would work just on a certain part of that muscle. They would look at the triceps and all of these muscles and look at the back. Was it rippling just right? What were they trying to do? They were trying to perfect their body to show it off to others. God does not want us to be show-offs to others. He wants us to be effective as we seek to be a blessing to others. God has something for all of us, and he is perfecting in us what will bring, first of all, joy and glory to us, but also blessings in the lives of others. A couple of years ago, Newsweek magazine ran an article on faith and healing. The article began with this unsettling story. On a quiet Saturday afternoon, a fourth-year medical student in Dallas came across a man in the VA hospital suffering from a rare cancer and hooked up to an oxygen tank. The man was an Orthodox Jew who could barely breathe, let alone speak. There were no friends or relatives by his bed to comfort him. When the young student walked into the room, the man looked up at this young nurse and said, "Now that I'm dying, I realize I never learned how to live." I want you to know God doesn't want us to come to the end of our days without ever learning how to live, how to be happy in Him. Blessed, happy is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. If you want to be happy, the Bible tells us how to go to heaven, how to be happy on our way to heaven. The Lord is working in us to bring us to joy and blessing. There will never be that final thought of that man, that thought, "I never learned to live." That will never be the final thoughts of any person, anyone who follows and allows the Lord to perfect that which concerns us. The Lord is seeking to move us into the place of blessing. The secret to the Christian being perfected is to walk in the will of God. God bless you for listening today. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow, right here, same time, 8:30. God bless you today.